You're very welcome back, Nigeria. You're still watching the TVC Breakfast Show. And before I left you, we're about to dive right into the newspaper review, where we talk about what all the Nigerian daily newspapers are saying. Let's dive right in. We begin today with Leadership News, the Nation newspaper. Let's see what that's saying. The Nation newspaper says, airstrikes kill terrorists in Borno State, pound hideouts in Katsina, Kwara, troops launch blistering attacks, 200 ISWAP fighters killed in clash with Boko Haram. I have to say, guys, it's almost like we can't keep up with the amount of terror groups that are, coming from one another. It's really getting out of hand. We go straight into the Tribune newspaper. Similar headline, Boko Haram ISWAP clash at Borno border. Over 150 killed. Nigerian Air Force kills ISWAP terrorists, bandits in precision airstrikes across northern state. That's what we like. Precision airstrikes. Daily Trust says, bandits attack 5 vehicles, abduct passengers in Kogi. It's really sad to see that this is what's dominating our headlines team in security, especially considering what happened last week. We head right over to the Blueprint newspaper. Nigerian Air Force airstrikes kill ISWAP terrorists in Borno, destroy bandits' hideouts in Katsina, Kwara, very similar to the Nation newspaper. We'll now go to the Daily Independent. President Tinubu engages regional bodies in insecurity battle. We're seeing that from all angles. The Nigerian Air Force, our defense people, as well as the president, are coming at this from all angles, both talks and soldiers at the front line. Moving on to the Daily Times newspaper. North existential threats capable of destabilizing Nigeria, Dambazao warns. Interesting. The Platform Times has this for us. They say, reps probe 4.6 billion. Nelson, take that down. So that reps probe $4.6 billion HIV, tuberculosis, malaria grants over mismanagement. Boy. Health sector losing so much money. That equates to lives lost, team. If you look at it closely. I'll take you over all the way to the Leadership newspaper now, where it says, interesting here, Dangote Fertilizer partners German firm to build and license 4 production units in Lekki. You can't keep up with this man, he's in constant motion. Marketers blame supply hiccups as cooking gas prices surge again. Just when we thought we were done with this team, we dealt with those queues, I believe, a month or 2 ago, and now we're back again. It's very, very sad. Let's go all the way to this Nigerian newspaper, where we have land grabbing, illegal mining, others fueling insecurity. The president has now gotten zonal security briefs and has promised to strengthen peace structures. Interesting, another headline here, subheadline, leaders demand recovery and the burial of Ogoni 4 remains. Remember that they were immortalized and honored by the president a few months ago. So it's interesting to see that, we're still on this. I'll take you over to the Nigerian News Direct paper. The federal government has approved 43 new FDPs, and they vowed to improve oil production. That's if Timmy Presilva doesn't get to them first. Sorry. And all the way, a low blow. That's a low blow. All the way finally to the Sporting Life newspaper. Tell me it's Osimhen. No, Eagles must run after the ball. This is by Gabon's coach. He's plotting a tactical shake-up against our boys.
No, mind them.
And no injuries after our first session. That's good news for the Nigerian Super Eagles. Okay, guys, let's dive right in. A lot is going on today, and unfortunately, it's insecurity that's dominating our headlines. It's not a very good one. It's saying that airstrikes have killed terrorists in Borno, pounded hideouts in Katsina and Kwara. This is all well and good, team. They've situated themselves in such a way that I'm guessing that they now have intelligence in a way that they can target these people precisely that it's occurring. But I know this is very grim, but I want to see bodies. I want to see. I want to see proper, aside from the headlines. I want to see where these people. I mean, when they killed Saddam Hussein, we saw bodies. They took us into their hideouts. We want more.
Yes, this is what they call the kinetic approach to dealing with insecurity. And one thing I believe that it's not just now that they are gathering intelligence on the location of these terrorist groups. The intelligence has always been there, but the will to do what they are supposed to do wasn't there. And I'll also want to urge the federal government that now that you are pounding hideouts and you're killing insurgents, you also should go after the sponsors of terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria. What Mr. President is doing with regional bodies is what I would like to call the non-kinetic, tact in dealing with this thing, instead of negotiating with the terrorists and the bandits. I like what I'm hearing. And the funny thing is that more killing was done when two terrorist groups clashed. ISWAP and Boko Haram, they killed themselves. 150 of them fell during that particular battle. Let's put confusion in their midst, Let them keep shooting themselves. It's about time we had some peace in this country. So I am all in and 150% in support of what is going on right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your input, Toma. I will say this, on one hand, it's great news, it's great headlines, and it's great progress that the military, the Nigerian army is making. Our defense people, they're making good headway. But I will also say this, these people that are being killed, they're also valuable intelligence. So I hope that we're taking that into account. They're valuable intelligence. They can give us credible intelligence that can lead further raids and further, killing of banditry. Nelson, I'll take you to the Nigerian Tribune, where the headline is very similar. Boko Haram, ISWAP clash at Borno border, over 150 killed. It's interesting to note that ISWAP actually is a shoot-off of Boko Haram, but now they've taken on a whole new life and now fighting within themselves. Like Toma rightly said, confusion in their midst. Shouldn't we take advantage of this?
Well, yeah, we should take advantage of that and much more. But you see, for the military to come out and say what they've said now, it sounds nice, but we want to see beyond what they are saying. We want to really see the body of proof when it comes to cutting this guy's tails to the point that it cannot wag any longer. And that is beyond just getting the foot soldiers. In other words, getting the boys who go on ground to do the dirty terrorist jobs. It goes to the high level of the men and women who are footing money to ensure that these guys keep having the feet to walk on the bush. We need to bring everyone who is sponsoring terrorism in this country down. We cannot keep on speaking grammar about it, using kids' gloves, and then allow the United States to give us a tag. Who knows, tomorrow it might be another country who comes to give us another tag, and then we'll be running helter-skelter again. No. We know what to do as a country. It is time to be politically correct, militarily in order, and socially steadfast to bring down this network of terrorism in the country. Or else we'll keep running around the table. How many years now have we been talking about terrorism in the country? For God's sake, is it so hard to bring down?
Absolutely. And there's a video that is trending currently online. There's a video of them fighting. This headline is in referral to that. Them killing one another. Something that really stood out to me was the sophistication of their weapons. I am talking unlimited ammunition. They were firing. Where are they getting these weapons?
So if terrorists can have access to such sophisticated weaponries, how much more a sovereign nation as Nigeria with all the systems of military government at work? Please, we need to find a way of handling it.
I will commend the Nigerian Air Force for taking advantage of that situation. They were able, because of the ruckus that was being created on Nigerian waterways, to intervene and have a precise location where they could now conduct an airstrike. But we still need more. Let's move on. Nelson, very passionate as always. Moving on to the Daily Trust newspaper. Unfortunately, not such good news. Bandits attack 5 vehicles, abduct passengers in Kogi. Team, I must say, whenever I see this headline, bandits, I have to ask myself, who is a bandit? The word over time in reportage, in the Nigerian narratives, has become so misused. We don't even know who a bandit is anymore. You have bandits, you have alleged Fulani herdsmen, you have terrorists. This typification, how important is it in helping us, vanquish these people, Etoma?
We use semantics to confuse ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
and it gives the enemy a cover.
It gives them a cover. Look, anybody that kidnaps, anybody that does large-scale abduction of human beings for whatever reason is a terrorist. Simple. So you call them bandits, you call them this. What's actually the meaning of bandit? A bandit is a thief.
Very, very vague.
It's very simple,
I
you
know
know.
some people even argue that the word bandit, it makes it sound very soft. These are bloodthirsty people who are killing people, taking human life. Bandit makes it sound so playful, almost.
You know, we just need to, maybe it's there was this need to classify the different groups that are doing this. So names like bandits and all that came on. Now they've adopted innocent people again. It's like the merry-go-round. It's going to happen all over again. The families are going to go through stress. They are going to look for monies that they do not have. They are going to do this, they are going to do that. And at the end of the day, maybe the bandits will end up killing some of them, even though they have collected ransom. It's annoying that we are hearing this side by side, the success of the military in flushing these terrorists out of our system.
Absolutely, and Nelson, you know, December is upon us. This is a time where people are going to, because of the cost of airfares, people are going to be traveling on our roads. This is the worst time this could possibly happen.
Absolutely the worst time, and so probably this is also a call out, a reminding call out to all our security agencies to find a way of manning the highways. I saw some videos on social media. I think this was around Imo. I've forgotten the name of the place to be very specific now, but it was around the southeast, right? And we saw also some part of Cross River North. We saw from that video, I saw tires being burnt in the middle of the road. And so the voice behind the video was saying, warning travelers, please don't come through this route. So I think the security agencies, please find a way of manning men along the route, because like you said, airfares is pretty high. Not everybody can afford to fly by air, to go by air. So hey, some people will have to go on the route, but they have to go home safe and return back safe.
Please, guys, this is a plea to you. Stay safe out there. Clearly, everywhere is, some places on our roads are unsafe. So please, educate yourself, take proper protocol, be safe, travel in groups. Moving on to the Blueprint newspaper, the main headline there reads, Nigerian Air Force airstrikes kill ISWAP terrorists in Borno, similar pattern to the other papers. But I want to direct our attention to a sub-headline here. BBC chiefs resign for wrongly editing Trump documentary scandal.
Yeah.
Now, Timo, it's very interesting to me because I believe it was the Director General of News and the CEO of BBC who both stepped down. These are two of the top dogs at the BBC. And because their coverage or their bias allegedly it was put into question, they now had to step down.
Okay.
It was a mistake. I saw. Sorry, Toma. I saw the should I say the headline yesterday. Look, anyone could do that, but however, I understand the level of discipline involved here, and thankfully for the climate that they operate in, that kind of mistake cannot be termed mistake, as it were. You need to pay for it. Hence, they honorably stepped down from their seat. Absolutely. Because it behoves on them as the last watchdog of anything that goes out to be able to vet it before it gets out. And so they missed that. And that also speaks to me as a senior producer myself, who sometimes have the responsibility of being the last person before anything comes out.
Interesting.
We need to be able to vet that. And so it puts the job on us as well as broadcasters to be able to put the right information out there, not to be sensational, not to be sentimental. It must be right at all times. Else, maybe we honorably resign.
I'm going to ask you a very controversial question here. Do you think Nigerian, high-ranking news people or news persons, do you think they hold themselves to the same standards? Very quickly.
Sorry, I didn't
think they would hold themselves to the same standard, stepping down if they were called out for political or systemic bias in their reportage?
Why did you ask that question?
You answer.
I mean, why did you ask?
Will you step down?
It is not in our culture, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
It's not in our culture, unfortunately, to do that. We'll find a way to keep the job, because jobs are really very scarce in Nigeria when you want to look at it from that point. But those guys that resigned, it has to do with their integrity. They're saying, oh, yes, I know it is my responsibility to be the last gatekeeper, and I didn't do the job well, and I left. But you see, they have more options than we have here. So if that happens here in Nigeria, My brother, nobody go anywhere. You want to hold that job as much as possible.
I knew you had the right answer for me. Moving on to the Daily Independent newspaper. President Tinubu engages regional bodies in insecurity battle. We've said this time and time again. You know, reportage about the terrorists is all fine and good, but it is the people in these communities that are suffering the banditry, the bloodshed, and the insecurity that we should engage. And the people that lead them. The Daily Times, something very similar. North existential threats are capable of destabilizing Nigeria. Dambazar warned. So we are seeing that after these Trump threats and everything that's going on, we're seeing the regional bodies in the north, as well as, you know, northern foremost leaders coming out to talk about this and really putting the focal point back on the north.
Olamide, this was coming from Lieutenant General Abdul Rahim Dambazar, you know, the former Chief of Army Staff. Quite poignant of him to say that, and this leaves me again to the conversation around the north. What the government in the north, talking about governors, senators, House of Reps, ministers, and all stakeholders in the north, what you all have been doing over the years to bring the level of educational, structural development in that part of the country, so that everyone in that part of the country can be part of the dividends of what they have in their land called Nigeria. We can't continue to have that kind of insurgency coming from that part. And so for Dambazwa to come and say this now, it's great, but beyond just saying that the North poses that kind of existential threat, what is the governmental structure in the North doing to bring down this kind of threat that they pose? Because you can't just say it and then walk away. There has to be a solution to what you said.
Absolutely. I find it very interesting when, you know, these foremost figures come out and they talk about the current political or economic or security landscape, but you have influence. Go and do something in your community.
Exactly. And you know, they almost sound like an opposition political party.
Absolutely.
You know, you point out the problem and nothing more.
Meanwhile, now your place.
We've got to move on now. The New Telegraph says Trump's threat. U.S. may alter West Africa's security landscape. Ex-DSS director, very lofty to assume that a sovereign nation and security landscape can be altered by
He's not
country.
even talking about just one nation. He's talking about the whole region of West Africa. You know,
very lofty.
Yes, it's really big. If you want to go into the details, there are quite a number of analyses that he had to bring out to come to that conclusion. But for me, I see the Trump brouhaha as a wake-up call. We are having a lot of action going on in the security subsector in Nigeria and other countries because of that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Atuma. We move on now to the Platform Times. Reps probe $4.6 billion HIV, tuberculosis, malaria grants over mismanagement. This is now the pattern and the narrative, that money that is the monies that are meant for important things, health, security, you know, the oil and gas sector, it's being used for other people.
Dances somewhere
why
else.
Why do we have a federal allocation if it's not going to be allocated?
And Olamide, you asked me to do the figure earlier. So
he did it.
I did. So that translated to 66 billion, 64,839,658.74 66 billion naira. Well, in this trillion, thank you. In this period where I am looking for money, when I hear this kind of money, my head is banging here.
I can't help but think schools, hospitals, homes, and you know, better quality of life for Nigerians when I hear those amounts. But
and meanwhile, sorry, there's a story on that same Platform Times. A 15-year-old boy, I want to put it together with this money matter. A 15-year-old boy identified as Ayomide Matthew has appealed to the Ogun State Governor, Dakwa Biodun, to help him continue his education after being forced out of school into scavenging as a result of his parents' separation. The boy is asking the governor, you know, he in a way is begging to be given scholarship to continue his education because his parents separated and it affected the ability to pay his school fee. And so the guy is a scavenger now. This is really important. And so please, the governor and any other person who is here, the young man's name is Ayomide Matthew. Please, let's do all we can to bring that boy back to school.
It's great, but he shouldn't have to plead. This system should be in place. It is his birthright as a citizen of the country of Nigeria.
Yeah, if editing of cash was not a rampant thing in the country, maybe You know, there's so much editing. That's
Absolutely.
what we're talking about.
You have the Leadership newspaper. Marketers blame supply hiccups as cooking gas prices surge again. We really, right now, at this time, with December period coming up, we can't afford, honestly, to deal with this. But I'll take you straight over to this Nigerian newspaper. Headline reads, land grabbing, illegal mining, others are fueling insecurity. This is by the presidency. What do you make of this?
Yes, these are things that have been established long ago before now. You know, that they are coming to the fore right now is a little bit funny. But it's good. If you know where the problem comes from, then it means you can solve the problem.
Absolutely. And finally, Sporting Life, our Super Eagles, what are they up to? Very quickly before we head out.
You know, Gabon's coach, yeah?
Yes, Eagles must run after the ball. We just want to say, boys, we are rooting for you. But that is it for the newspaper review today. We will be right back. Please join us after the break as we review the just concluded Anambra State governorship election. How free and fair was this process?